September 7, 2018 has seen Marvel's Spider-Man by Insomniac Games swing onto our store shelves. I've played many a Spider-Man game over the years, but how does this PS4 release compare? Well, let's get into Marvel's Spider-Man. Insomniac Games developed Marvel's Spider-Man to be a fast-paced action game, and I feel they've delivered this from the very first opening scene. The game takes place in beautiful Manhattan, New York City, and from the initial web sling across the open world setting, I was hooked. Insomniac incorporated a number of controls that at first set a challenge for me. This was eased, however, with a simple, free-flowing tutorial that helps you master the many moves of Spider-Man. I feel that they hit the mark with this, and I was enjoying every second of learning new combat moves to take down the first wave of criminals and bosses. As you progress past the first few chapters, you're given the task of switching the police scanners on. This is one of the first important aspects of the game, as you'll now be able to see the Manhattan map locations. With many areas to be discovered within the city, some points of interest to visit are climbing the Avengers Tower and visiting Doctor Strange's house. Of course, there are many other Easter eggs for you to find along the way, and some of which are required to 100% the game. The overall campaign can be completed in under 20 hours, however I would find it hard to do as there is so much to be distracted by. I'll admit that in the first 2 hours of gameplay, it was easy to get lost in the city by swinging, diving and wall running, exploring the city and its limits. In the game, there are a number of side quests to complete, like fighting crime syndicates, street criminals and meeting people on the street. One addition to this gameplay that I loved was the backpack challenge and finding their hidden locations. This allows Peter to reflect on memories of the items obtained. Progressing through the game, you'll unlock more web tools and gadgets by using tokens earned from fighting crime, finding landmarks and so on. This is a fun way to learn how to take down new criminals with your web shooters, bombs, stealth distractions and hanging them from the rafters. Even though the combat system is complex at first, taking down enemies with different attacks and gadgets will soon become second nature. In some instances, the fluidity of the game isn't great during the boss fights. However, the crime syndicate battles are free-flowing with 6 waves of enemies to take down. I found that the stealth skills alongside with his gadgets is one of the best parts of the Marvel Spider-Man combat system. It's initiated perfectly and fluid within all areas of gameplay. Now, if you wish to platinum Marvel's Spider-Man, it can take a while to do. Perhaps it was because I was sidetracked often and found myself thoroughly enjoying the web swinging and diving off tall buildings than actually fighting crime. Some of the criminal activities completed become somewhat exhausting and repetitive. Area locations and saving citizens also become mundane and very much the same. I would recommend tackling most of these challenges first as opposed to leaving them last like I did. Throughout the game, the easy-to-navigate menu allows you to change your suits. Each suit also has different suit mods that Spider-Man can use. Using these mods in battle gathers your focus bar, so you can unleash that perk once the bar is filled. There are a number of suit mods to unlock, and they are a lot of fun to interchange, so you can create your own strong Spider-Man. There are a few flaws, however, being that the story takes a slower pace as you play through the characters during the middle of the game. Even with those flaws, I was still eager to find out where the storyline was headed. Both the scripting and voice acting are exceptional throughout, and Yuri Lowenthal played an amazing Spider-Man. As a huge fan of Peter Parker, the game needed to show both sides of his life. Not just the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but also the side where Peter is always the underdog, has no money, heartbroken, in love, and of course the family dynamic with Aunt May. I highly recommend this PlayStation exclusive, and the game is a knockout from start to finish. I feel Insomniac Games have delivered with an outstanding storyline and gives us a 10 out of 10 experience in both sets of his shoes. It didn't matter if I was playing the scenes as Peter Parker or Spider-Man, I was his character and I enjoyed every single minute. The execution of the open world gameplay, graphic design and storyline make Marvel's Spider-Man a contender for this year's Game of the Year.